Hello everybody and welcome to the Place to Soar, where our motto is step out and redesign, and the focus is on you. I'm so happy to be here this evening. My name is Anita Russell and this is my co-host Gail Talaferro. We have two incredible people here. One of them I know, the other one I just met, and it's a couple, a married couple, and they do some incredible things together, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. So I'm going to start off by reading their bio. We have Ken and Melissa. Ken and Melissa's experiences and skills complement each other very well. By combining Ken's finance management and electrical experience with Melissa's advertising, marketing, and networking skills, they create a well-rounded leadership team. Melissa possesses a diverse background in sales and marketing, combined with a passion for building strong relationships with her clients. And Melissa is also a military vet. She's very comfortable with canvassing, cold calling, working vendor events, and presenting educational seminars to generate sales. So that sounds really incredible. So now we're going to talk a little bit about Ken. Ken is a strong, talented leader with over 30 years of diverse business experience in electrical sales, electrical contracting, procurement, accounting, and informational technology. He has 12 years of leadership experience at a director level within large global organizations, and being responsible for managing department budgets, hiring, and all kinds of really incredible things. So as you know, the people in our audience, we always talk about our SOAR values. So I asked Melissa and Ken to pick one or two of our SOAR values, and what they chose was vision, purpose, and life transition. So we're going to allow that to be the theme for our conversation. So I'm just going to start out by asking you, why did you pick those particular values?
That was an easy one for me because going through leaving corporate world with Ken and starting a new business at this point in our life was really scary and a major life transition. So as soon as I saw your values, life transition just jumped off the page at me.
And the same thing with you, Ken?
Yes, that's very true. And we're pretty aligned on those thoughts as well.
Oh, good. So tell me, how did this, I mean, you guys do business together. I mean, we were just talking before we started the show how a lot of people just look at you and say, oh my gosh, you work with your spouse all day long. Like, how do you do that? So why don't you share a little bit of that aspect with our audience?
Sure. It's been a lot of fun. And it is true, when people say you work with your spouse, and we literally work like this far apart from each other, they're always like, oh, I don't know if I could do that. But I'm really blessed because I get to work with my best friend. And it's a lot of fun. And I get to see a different side of him that I used to go to his corporate functions and I would hear his employees and coworkers talk about him. And I never got to really experience that relationship with him, and where now I get to. So we have our differences sometimes. And sometimes we have to take a step back and say, okay, let's give a little bit of space and come back together and regroup. But I think what works well with Ken and I is we're pretty much usually always on the same page. So I do think that it takes a special type of relationship, and you have to be able to really be able to communicate and listen to each other. But I love working with him.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we had a very strong relationship from a personal standpoint, and the business always took me away a lot of hours from both our jobs always took us away from each other. And creating a business together that we would be working together was scary. I mean, we had a very strong relationship. Could we do it together? And we had a lot of advice from people, don't work with your spouse, and they could never do it. But I think we both felt very connected in that we could do it, because when we were apart, we wanted to be together. And I think what we're finding is, although we are very similar, we do have disagreements on things, but it's been a really good experience to work together, to see our differences. And you were talking about our complementary from a business standpoint, where Melissa excels and where I excel. But I think on the personal nature, we both have areas where we have strengths on the personal side, and not necessarily on the business side, but from personality and personal skills. I have certain strengths, and Melissa has certain strengths, and there's some differences there. And she really helps. Together we do complement each other on the personal side as well.
Oh, that's
And
wonderful.
that's interesting how you identified your strengths and weaknesses, early on so that you can go ahead and iron those things out and then come back together and work together. And it's good that you did not listen to the naysayers because,
Yes.
those are the doubters who I definitely try and stay away from because they have a tendency to steal dreams. Okay.
I agree.
They steal dreams, and we all have to do things for ourselves. We have to transition into the life where we want to develop the lifestyle, the business that we want for us and no one else. And to be able to overcome that, I think that was really good. Just, especially to know that you can do that.
It's funny, my stepmom, who I adore, and she works with my dad day in and day out, and I really respect her opinion. I called her up, I said, Mom, this is what we're thinking about doing, and she's like, you guys will be fine. And it's interesting, I think it definitely helps if you're thinking about working with your spouse that you have really clearly defined roles. And that helps because if you say you're in charge of marketing and you're in charge of the technical and the financial situations, then it makes it easier when those disagreements do come up where you can say, all right, I'll listen to your input, but ultimately this is my area and this is your area. So I think that helps.
So the two things that really popped out at me is, number one, you mentioned he's your best friend. And then
Absolutely.
number two, the fact that when you look at your skill sets and your experiences, how complementary they are. So what that says to me, the complementary part comes, as you mentioned, on the personal side, but then also on the business side. So can you talk a little bit more about how your husband being your best friend plays into your business?
Okay, that's an interesting question. How does my husband, my best friend, play into our business? Ken is, I think Ken is brilliant, first of all. He's very good with numbers, he's like the Excel guru. He can take information and just populate 13, 14 sheets. So I really respect him as an individual, and I think that's important in a business that you respect the people that you work with. And it helps make it fun. We have a code of values that our business is based on called Live Rich, and it stands for respect, integrity, customer focus, and have fun in the process.
Oh, nice.
And because I get to work with my husband and my friend in a business, we get to really incorporate that have fun aspect into our daily lives. And hopefully we share that with our customers as well. But I don't know if it would be different if it wasn't with my spouse. Because I really respect him and we get along so well, it makes it easier to live those values and incorporate them into our business.
So did you guys work together on developing those values?
It's actually from our corporate, but
I
it is
understand.
one of the things that drew us to Mr. Electric, and it's something that we
Oh, okay.
strongly believed in. And it's not just a code of values that's hung in a poster on the wall. It's actually something we incorporate in our team meetings. They're posted, we discuss them, and a lot of times if we're having challenges, we'll say, let's go back to the code of values and let's figure out how to resolve this using our code of values.
We had to choose how we were going to start this business together. And there were a number of different business models. We could just go out there on our own and start it from scratch. There were consulting companies that give you guidance to start an electrical contracting business. We looked at a lot of different models, and when we found Mr. Electric, which is part of the Dwyer Group, they, as Melissa mentioned, throughout the whole process and working with them and due diligence and everything, we saw that they worked and lived by the code of values. And that's what really drew us to it. And it's not only something, as Melissa said, they put on the wall, but from the time we started working with them, signing the agreement, and continuing after that, they've lived up to their code of values.
Excellent.
And we incorporate, that's part of our business model as well then.
That's good. Okay, so it's not like you start the business and your wife came and worked with you. You guys chose it together.
We researched it to the end. Hundreds of phone calls, visits to existing franchises, out to Texas twice to an orientation day. We really did a lot of planning and thought process before we kind of jumped into this because it is a big commitment.
Well, I don't think Ken did a good job. Only because he only has the one wife. You know how other organizations you have the wife at home and then you have the office wife. Yeah, you got the same one.
He's had plenty of office wives before me.
Okay.
Hopefully I'm the last one.
So I wanted to maybe get a little bit more insight into your backstory, like what was going on in your life. Like you talked about life transition as being one of your values. So Tell us a little bit about your backstory. Like, what was going on that made you even come to the point where, okay, we need to do something very different, and that thing is, let's go into business together.
Okay.
I mean, to open, we had a very comfortable life together as far from a financial standpoint. We have a lot of kids, 6 to be
Exact.
and but we lived a very comfortable life. I've worked in the pharmaceutical and healthcare industry for the last close to 19, 20 years. Have done very well in the industry in developing my career and growing, and so we've lived a comfortable life. And at this point, a couple things. One is, working in the healthcare industry, I always felt very good about what I did. I always felt that although I was a very small cog in the wheel of this large corporation, in some cases 140,000 employees, I always felt good about working in the healthcare industry because I felt we were giving back to people and helping the world be a better place. Now, when we talk about transition, we were looking for something that would give us, from my standpoint personally, being able to do something that would also give back in some sense, and to build something that would be not just for myself, but would help my family, help my community, and help potential employees that join us. We want to really build something for that. But the transition came from the fact that large pharmaceutical companies, healthcare industries merge and acquisitions, and we actually had a divestiture of my business. And they divested my business into another company, and at that point I had an opportunity to depart. They gave me a great opportunity and said, if you'd like to leave, we'd like to let you leave and give you a little guidance on the way out. And they made it worth my while to leave. And that's where we said, what are we going to do with our lives now? We could go out and find another corporate job, and go back into being another cog in the wheel. And I'll be honest with you, for the last 30 years, I've always said I wanted to have my own business. It's always been a dream for me to have my business, to do something that creates something on my own. So this came at a time in life where I was given an opportunity to go down that path, and I had someone to help me build it, right, to do it together. And so it's not only a dream I had to build something on my own. Now it's really, what it became was, what are we going to build together? And I think that's the exciting part of it.
So how does from your perspective, Melissa, your dreams and aspirations fit into what Ken just described?
Right. I did not grow up thinking, oh, I really want to own an electrical contracting company. But I can tell you this. You talk about transitions in life. I was widowed, and I saw what happens when you kind of put your dreams on hold, and then things happen and you no longer have the opportunity to achieve them. And ever since my first date with Ken over 10 years ago, he talked about owning his own business. So in the back of my mind, it was always like this was something he really wanted to do. And there's never a good time to take a risk.
Absolutely.
Right? When you have children and college tuitions, there's always, we should wait a little bit longer. So when the opportunity came up and you see the passion that he has for doing this, and I truly believe in his abilities, it just made sense. I never want to see him in a position where he didn't get a chance to try his dreams. And it very quickly became my dream too, just by being with him and going through all of the due diligence and going out and traveling. All of a sudden it was no longer this is Ken's idea. It became something we did together, and it became ours.
Yeah, and interesting enough, we were talking about naysayers. A number of people said, don't go into business. Don't do it together because you couldn't get along. But they also said, don't do it together because one of you should be out working and getting an income. And I've told the people that have said that to me, I said, I couldn't do it without Melissa. She brings the skills and the experience and the personality that I don't have to make the business successful. So we could not be successful. I feel I could not be successful without her in the business.
I think what you just said, with people making those types of comments, if you have a dream to have your own business, you should just go for it. And I don't mean go for it like willy-nilly and don't do your due diligence and all of that. But if that dream is inside of you, that's what you want to do, there's going to come a point in your life where you're just going to look at your life and say, you know what, I really do want to have my own business. And I think, looking at it from the standpoint of you got to have an income well, I'm generating income. The whole entire point for me to have my own business is because I want to be self-generating when it comes to my income, and sort of get yourself out of that place of being dependent upon corporations, or building somebody else's dream and all that sort of thing. Just because in the kind of work that I do, I hear that type of stuff all the time. And you have to have a certain confidence in yourself. You have to have a certain way that you see yourself in order to be able to really step out there and sort of shut all that stuff right down.
Right.
But that also goes with really looking at having the plan. It has to be somewhere in the back of your mind, whereas you want to have your own business, and then a perfect opportunity came up for you. It was like, okay, well, you can go now if you want and take this package. I'm waiting for that package myself. 2.5 years,
now out there.
2.5 years, 2.5
When you
years.
put it out in the universe.
Yes, but to make that transition, to just go ahead and do what you really want to do because you still have the time. A lot of you didn't get afraid. You wasn't afraid to do it. A lot of people. Were you afraid?
It's very scary.
This has been very scary. I'll have to say, leaving this large corporation. First of all, they were very good to me. We had a very good relationship in ending, and I helped them close out things, and they were just very good to me. So I have very, very thankful for being a member of this large corporation. But coming into the business now is very scary, and we've had discussions. Being part of the Mr. Electric, we're a franchise. We have hundreds of people we can speak to about it that are currently in our position, and we spoke to a number of them when they started. And you know what they said that got them through it. Interesting enough is they had a lot of scary nights where there was no sales and they didn't have any money coming in, and they didn't know what they were going to do, and they were praying. And when we heard their backup plan was prayer, we were like, oh no.
But it makes sense.
It's
It really does, because you have to have faith. And like you said, you
do.
have to trust in your
Absolutely.
own abilities in yourself.
But you have to have more than faith. Because faith without works is dead. So you were working on
true.
your dream, and you had the faith, and they worked together. But you weren't afraid to leave corporate. Were you afraid to leave corporate?
There is certainly some level of fear. There is no doubt there is a level of fear.
Oh, okay.
We have, from the financial standpoint particularly, I don't think it's a fear of Melissa's abilities or my abilities. It's that fear of 6 children, college tuitions that we're currently paying, the financial fear. I think the fear of us working together or being able to be successful is not such a fear. It's really that financial flow, cash flow.
Well, I call you brave because I'm like, I don't know if I was to leave something knowing that I had a child in college, especially college.
Well, I did it.
I know.
But if you have a plan and you've spent a lot of time, if you take the time to do a business plan and do your research and do your homework and lay out your sales projections and your expenses, and I think it takes away some of that risk because now you're making educated choices.
And that's the thing too, because a lot of people do not take the seriousness of a business plan. A business plan is your roadmap as to how you want your business to go, where you want to go, who are you going to be tailoring, who's going to be your clientele, what focus are you looking at. All that goes into a business plan, and it gets you to do the research, the SWOT analysis, and the financial research that goes along in a business plan.
65 pages. We put together back in July before we got started.
And a lot of long nights.
A lot of
But it was your plan.
Yes.
Because some people, they go out and they buy business plans. But when you do your own business plan, it's your plan.
Right.
It's your research. It's the knowledge that you're gaining from doing it. So I love doing business plans.
And it's really nice that you found a franchise. So is that what when you started off and decided that you wanted to have your own business, you were specifically looking for a franchise?
No, actually not. We looked at possibly buying an existing electrical contracting business, starting from scratch with just one truck and ourselves. And we realized trying to replace a corporate income and the lifestyle that we've grown accustomed to, that we needed help. And so we started researching franchises. And when we came across Mr. Electric and their code of values and their faith-based, and talking to the existing franchises, and the overwhelming theme amongst all of them was just the support that they received, not even from the franchise, but from the other franchise owners.
Okay.
They're really a family atmosphere. You know, we went out and visited a franchise and we're thinking, you know, oh, I hope they share with us some information. We weren't prepared to walk in and they were basically like, let me see your numbers, you know, here, you're a little high here, a little low here. This is what we did. We were just blown away by how open and willing to help and the information that they shared with us. So when we said, okay, we definitely knew electrical contracting.
Okay.
Once we got with Mr. Electric and we started looking at and evaluating it, we were like, okay, we can make this model work. And we believe in the values and the goals, and we would feel proud representing it in our community. And they believe in giving back, and that was really important to us too, because we want to give back to the community. We would love if one of our employees said, you know what, we want to open a Mr. Electric, and we could help teach them and help support them in seeing their dream of owning a business. That would be like the ultimate win for us doing this.
So tell me about your kids. How do your kids view all of this with you guys making that change?
Not all of them were excited about it.
Some asked us to wait till
Were
after
they
college.
scared?
Particularly the one in college said, do you have to do this now? Can you
Wait till I
finish?"
graduate.
Other than that, they have been very supportive.
Okay.
Been very
Now
supportive.
how old are they and how many are in college?
We have 2 in college.
2 in college.
They range in age between 14 and 25.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So some of them are out, and some of them are still in, and some of them are kind of in transition.
Okay.
So we did make a rule, and one of the things that we were told over and over is don't hire anyone that you can't fire. So we made a rule very early on that no children of ours would work for the company.
Okay.
That when we say family owned, it literally is
It's us.
us.
It's a family.
And the kids and fiancés and everyone else has to find work elsewhere.
Oh, okay.
And that would just keep it a little bit easier home life.
So you
So-
kind of
Good.
kept your kids in the loop as you were going through and making the plans and just very openly letting them know we're getting ready to make this serious
Yes.
move here.
Yes, and it's funny that the younger ones that are home every day, you know, they'll come in and they'll say, how was your day? What happened? And they're really interested in seeing what we're doing and how we're doing it and who we've hired. And so it's nice to be able to give that to them as well, that they're looking at how hard we're working and what we're doing to build a business.
And not only that, but you're passing along some very valuable lessons to your kids as well, and teaching them to kind of look beyond what might be just kind of the status quo and all of that, just kind of look beyond that, and that, you know, there's a world of opportunities out there, and you just have to be willing to get out there and find what's going to work for you. So that's an incredible lesson for them.
You know what, that is so true, and especially when children see their parents stepping out and doing something different, you know, that will give them the okay, it's okay to go ahead and do something different. You know,
Right.
not listen to the naysayers. Because my son, he used to do that to me all the time. He would watch me. I didn't know he was watching me so closely. But, you know, going for the degrees and doing this, that, and the other, you know, that gave him the confidence to go ahead and step out and do the things that he wanted to do in his life.
It's funny, we've been talking about naysayers a lot tonight, and sometimes I wonder if the naysayers really do have dreams that they want to pursue, and it's just
Yeah.
too scary
Exactly.
to take that leap.
Exactly. And quite frankly, when you were talking about the fear and some of that anxiety about leaving corporate America, because I left corporate America back in 2013. And for me, it wasn't so much like thinking about it. It was like after about maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and I was just like, oh my God, what did I just do? You know what I'm saying?
Maybe they'll take me back.
So it was, you know, I went through this little bit of a thing there, and it was just a little bit scary. But at the same time, I think also part of that fear is it's a safety net.
Yes.
And that's what I kind of like realized, like your safety net is gone. Like this, where you're going to go from this point on is 100% dependent upon you. And so I had to, and this, I'm talking like maybe 3 or 4 weeks, like after I, you know, because at first I just kind of chilled for a minute, and it's like, oh, I don't have to get up. And then it was like, okay, you got to start getting your wheels in motion.
Don't you think that also drives you? Because now you know, like, there's no playing around. You have to
Yes,
make this work.
exactly.
There's no going back.
Exactly.
And I think that also pushes you to make sure that, okay, maybe I don't feel like doing that networking event tonight, but I have 2 college tuitions and, kids that want to eat every day, a couple of
Every
times a
day.
day.
But that all depends on if you have a plan. See,
Yes.
some people don't have a plan. They'll just retire and not do anything and just,
Yes.
try and figure things out. But when you have a plan, then you have to drive, because now it's like, okay, I got to make this college tuition payment, so I better go to that networking
Right.
event
Yeah,
and make some
exactly.
connections and keep it
Exactly.
moving.
Yeah, no, it's very true. I consider us to have a very aggressive plan for someone who just opened up a business.
Yes.
And it's aggressive because it has to be from our standpoint. And so, it's a little scary, but it's aggressive. We have a plan. We're every day we're looking at the plan. We're saying, okay, here's where we have to be. We know what numbers we have to hit. We're not hitting them every day, that's for sure. But we have a plan to get there, and we're taking actions every day pretty much to get us towards that plan.
But see, you have a goal.
We have a
You
goal.
have a goal.
We
And a lot of people don't have those goals to say, okay, let me see what I need to do. And if people need to just try and accomplish the one goal and then look back and say, oh, that wasn't so bad. That wasn't so scary. Okay, so let's try and reach for the next goal. But like Anita was saying, people just find it intimidating and scary and, don't fulfill their dreams and purpose.
It's interesting that you bring up goals because at the franchise training, they do a lot on goal development and goal setting. And actually every year we sit down and we do a goal and they have you break it down into steps.
Yes.
And they talk about the circle of life and all of the different areas of your life that need to be fulfilled for you to truly be happy and balanced.
They have to be balanced.
So it's spiritual and social and work and education. And they really encourage you to sit down with your employees and go through that goal setting and to write them down and
Yes.
post
Make
them
it
where you
clear
can
down.
see
Yes.
them. And they encourage you to take your finger and read along the very specific goal so that you can work towards them. And it's funny, I carry my marketing plan with me almost every day. So I can look at it and make notes and do the things that I need to do to help us get where we need to go.
Because it's okay to make those changes in the
Yes,
plan.
you have to be
You
flexible.
You have to be
Absolutely.
flexible. Yes.
And I think a key thing that you also said is, well, maybe you didn't say it exactly, but the implication was there, is that you're always going back and reevaluating. So you're always, okay, we've gotten through this day, how did we do? We've gotten through this week, how did we do? This month, this year. So you're constantly going back and sort of this checks and balances and how can we improve? So it's also about having a continuous improvement mindset. Like you never stop trying to get it better or to improve it on a regular
We have
basis.
a lot of room
You
for
just keep,
improvement, that's for
yeah,
sure.
but you just keep
Every
you
day
just
we see
keep
room.
doing that. You
Yeah.
just keep doing
Yes.
that. And I don't. For me personally, I don't think there's an end to being able to improve, because a lot of times when you start making the mistake of resting on your laurels, you start missing things. And there can be important things that as you're going through that reevaluation that you say, oh, wow, what if we were to do this in this way? And then you try it and it works out better than what you had originally. So that's a challenge. That reevaluation and continuous improvement mindset is something that you need.
I think we're always looking to improve. We actually just had the opportunity, through networking, we had an opportunity to apply for a program at Rutgers called the EPI, Entrepreneur Pioneer Initiative, which we're very excited about. And, it's something that we're going to do together, hopefully.
If we get accepted.
If we get accepted.
I'm sure you will.
But it's all about personal improvement, business improvement, setting
Yes.
goals, and coaching and mentoring. And I have a lot of experience in the corporate world, but I have a lot of learning to do. And Melissa has a lot of experience in marketing, but I think together we both realize we can always learn more. And
Yeah,
we're looking at this as,
absolutely.
if we get accepted, as
Absolutely.
maybe an opportunity at Rutgers to learn more and get coaching from people that have more experience than us.
I'm a strong believer you have to invest back into yourself in
Yes.
education and improvement if you're
Yes.
going to continue to grow. And you're only as good as your weakest person on the team.
Yes. So we are just about out of time.
Already?
Yes. So what are those last nuggets that you want to throw out to our audience?
For me, if there's something you really want to do in life, you will find a way to make it work. You just need to be dedicated, work hard, and make a plan. Write it down and think it through, and hopefully you'll have the opportunity to work with somebody that you truly cherish and enjoy being with.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Excellent. Okay, so I want to thank our incredible guests,
Thank
Ken
you.
and Melissa.
Thank you.
And their company is Mr. Electric, and it's mrelectric.com/Princeton.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
So we want our audience to be sure that they reach out and check out your website, and if they need something electrical done, that they give you a call or whatever. So I just want to thank you again for coming on our show, and to our audience, I just want to say thank you, and we'll see you next time at the Place to Soar.